What's going on, you bunch of heretics? Grab your paint pots, grab your recaff, and let's get some paint on that ever-growing pile of potential. It's here. The Heresy is my therapy Slapchop tutorials. Today, we've got the Sons of Dorn himself. Yes, the Imperial Fists. Yellow. Potentially a difficult one to Slapchop, so it should be quite interesting. As always, everything you need for this video will be in the description below. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay then folks, as always we're going to be using an Infernus Marine, just like we have done for the other four Space Marines that we've done chapters for these. Like I say, we're going to be doing Imperial Fists today. As always, we're going to be going through our 4-stage grey dry brushing. We'll be starting off with our medium dry brush for the initial layer, and then just switching over to a small dry brush, either your Nuln one or your synthetics. Okay, grabbing ourselves a tissue. Remember, like I say, you can use a texture palette as well for this, should you want to. But for the time being, I'm just going to use a bit of tissue. So, Mechanicus Standard Grey to begin our journey. Easy enough. Yeah, Mechanicus Standard Grey is what we're going to be going with first of all. As always, give it a good old shake. Have a little play around, feels soft, feels nice. Plenty on, and as always, we just take it all off. And then from there, we're just going over big circles, small circles, round the entire model. Remember, with the initial dry brush, underneath, getting in absolutely everywhere. Okay, hasn't got to be neat, hasn't got to be tidy. Just, big circles, just getting it absolutely all over the model. Okay, first layer applied. That's our Mechanicus Standard Grey done. And now, as per usual, just on with the Administratum Grey. And of course, we're going to be using our small dry brush. Quick shake. You know the routine. If you've been watching these tutorials, you'll know the kind of pattern that we're going with. Again, on the brush, off the brush, on the brush, off the brush. And again, with these ones, we're going up and down, starting to really pick out everywhere. And again, you don't need to go up the model. This is now just kind of small circles around it all. Just with that Administratum Grey. Again, small circles. Because we are going to be applying yellow, so we are going to want it to be just a little bit lighter. Okay, just that little bit lighter. Small circles, all over the model. Yeah, small circles. You don't have to put too much pressure on. You know, just have a little play around with us. I suppose that's the good thing about a texture palette. And you can kind of gauge the pressure that you want to use. We don't want to press on it too much. Just as if you were writing a letter, you know, with a pencil. That's probably about the right level that you want to be at. Okay, just all over the model. There we go. All right, as you can see, a little bit of a change in the shade of grey. Easy as. Okay, Ulthuan Grey next. Now again, this is where we start to change how we apply the dry brush. So we're just easing off the pressure, and we're just, remember, down the model now. Okay, so down the model. Okay, we're really starting to pick out highlights. So I'm not going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up on the model. I'm flicking down the model. Okay, hopefully you can hear that. Not. It should just be a. Okay. That's the Ulthuan grey applied, and now finally we'll take our white scar. Good shake off. Same again. Take it all off. You don't want loads on this. All we're doing is we're just picking out those really key parts. Shoulder pads, that's always going to be one. Tops of the pack. Helmet. And then just down the outsides. Nothing wild. Not too heavy. And we're looking at where the light, where this light is shining down on this model. So the tops, the outsides. You know, all the places the light is getting to. Okay. I'm almost allowing, you know, let the light do the job. And there you have it. That should be the model prepped, good to go, ready for its first few layers. Right, righto. So now we are going to actually put some paint on this guy. So we've got, this is Imperial Fist, contrast paint Imperial Fist. This is the first time I've used this because usually I use, where is it? For a lot of stuff we've been using, for some stuff we've been using Iyanden Yellow. So it'll be interesting to see, might have to use some of that in some of the recess areas. But for this, contrast Imperial Fist. So we're going to thin it down as we always do, 3 to 1. Get a bit of water, just place our water in there. You have to excuse the state of my brush. I do wash them. I'm sure I do. 1, 2, 3. Maybe a 4 to 1. How about that? Maybe a 4 to 1. Seems quite like this. Okay. And as always, we're going to place paint, shoulder pads, helmet, tops of the pack, pretty much everywhere. So what we're going to do, like I say, we're just going to get the paint, start putting it on. I think this is going to be this could well be a two tier, a two layer job, this potentially, but we'll see. We will see. I always find the actual specific chapter paints quite interesting, but we are nice and light. Remember, we're always going to go nice and light. It's better to go light to dark. All right. So again, we're just touching up some of these areas. The paint is thin, so we're trying our best to move the paint around. Don't let it pool too much. Okay. Don't let it pool too much, but just move the paint around. All right. So, like I say, I'm going to go on all the armor work. I'm going to leave the outside of the pauldrons because I'm going to paint those red. And I'll be painting the crest red as well, the classic Imperial Fist. But we shall see. I suspect this is going to get a glaze of Iyanden Yellow. because this is very light, but we'll see how it dries. Alright, so like I say, nice and thin. If you need to, apply a second layer, or just go back over those areas. You know, just go back over those areas. Actually, it seems to be drying alright. Seems to be drying quite nicely. But I suspect we may need to very lightly glaze over with our Iyanden Yellow. Right then. I've also just realised that I haven't informed you that I've changed my brush. I'm on just a normal, either medium or small layer brush for this, guys. Obviously, I'm not using your dry brush anymore, just in case. I know that might have seemed obvious, but I do apologise for not being clear with that. So yes, just either switch to your standard layer, small or medium. Alright. Okay, folks, so interestingly, that's how it's come out. Now, I feel like it's got a bit of a green tinge, but then you wouldn't put it in certain lights, it is yellow. So I think what we're going to do, we are going to take our Iyanden Yellow, we are going to take that, and I'm going to put like a real really thin, just a really thin, like just really thin glaze consistency, almost, just over the top of this, just to maybe bring out the yellow a bit more, you know, just to give it a bit more yellow, take away that almost green sheen like it feels like it has. I suspect that is what the comments will say. It almost looks green-esque, sorry. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of Iyanden Yellow, just glazed over, just to kind of help it out a little bit. All right. So all those yellow areas, let's just get some Iyanden Yellow over it, just to help it out a little bit. All right. Again, you know, just get your standard brush, standard layer brush, and we're just moving the paint around on those yellow areas, just to kind of help it a little bit, just to give it a little bit more depth. All right, I think that might work out a bit better. I think that has worked out much better already. I think that has worked out a little bit better already. Just to kind of give it that yellow, a bit more depth, a little bit more yellow to it, a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's already looking more yellow than it was green. It's taken away that green tint, I think. So we're gonna have to just trust it, I think, to let it dry right. And obviously when we add the Zandri Dust at the end, I think it will start to come into its own. But for the time being, I'm sure it'll be right. As always, we put the main colour on. So we're just gonna, I'm just gonna do a very simple base. This is probably the time to get your base on. I'm just using a Sterland Mud. As always, just keeping it classic Sterland Mud on the model. Just classic Sterland Mud dry brush. We'll add a few little, I've got some stuff from Army Painter actually that we're going to use today. A bit of PVA glue, some flock, and maybe a little bit of like a cork boulder type thing. Yeah, we'll see how that looks. It should be pretty cool. Like a bark. But yeah, I'm just spreading that Sterland Mud all over the model. Yeah. Hasn't got to be too neat. If you want to build up a little bit of area, you can do. But today I just want a nice simple base down. The browns complement the yellow quite nicely. So yeah, that'll go there. So I'm going to use Blood Angels Red. Blood Angels Red today. Blood Angels Red. And we're going to want our small layer brush. small layer brush. I quite like these STC brushes, the synthetic ones. And again, you know, we are going to look to water these down, but again, just on the palette. You don't need to water it down too much, maybe a 2 to 1, a 3 to 1. Okay, and remember, we're going on the crests. Okay, on the crests, on of the pauldrons on the outsides, and then we're going to go on the actual chest crest. Is that right? Yep. So we're going to go in there. Hopefully you can see that okay. But we're going to go onto the chest piece. Let's just do that now. And then we're going to, again, just nice and easily, with that Blood Angel's Red, just around the shoulder pauldrons. Classic, absolutely classic Imperial Fists. Remember, keep your brush relatively wet every second, just in case you get a little mistake, and you can just use that water just to take it away. But we've got to keep the brush damp, and we're just nice and easily just get those bits of red. All right. Yeah. I think that red also brings out the yellow a little bit more as well. For those of you that would like to add a little bit of depth in there, grab your Flesh Tearer's Red. Remember, it's a little bit darker. Grab your Flesh Tearer's Red. Then we'll just, in the recesses of some of the red in here, we'll just darken. We'll just darken the crest, just ever so slightly. Okay, we'll just darken the crest. And then, like when we do for some of the yellows, we'll just pop a little bit into some of these corners, just to add just a little bit of depth in there. Not a great deal, but just enough, you know, just to kind of break it up a little bit, you know, because this Blood Angel's Red is quite light. It will give you a nice little highlight. Okay, so just in the little recesses on the skull, just that Flesh Tearer's Red just helps make that Blood Angel's Red just pop ever so slightly more. Alright, so nice and light, nothing too wild. Alright, it's starting to come into its own now, isn't it? We can see the yellow, we can see the red, becoming very, very much an Imperial Fist. So, next up, we're going to use our Gor-Grunta Fur, a personal favourite of mine. I like this for leatherwork, in all fairness. This is a great, great brown for leatherwork. You know, and again, we're just going to, you know, 2 to 1, 3 to 1. And again, just on his belt kit. Not on the weapon, on the handle, but on all the leather work. We're going to make that brown. I think this brown looks great with the yellow. It just looks cracking. You know, we're just getting it in there. And if you can, just try and get the belt. Goes round the waistline. And if you can't, don't worry. But otherwise, yeah, all the belt work, all his pouches, his little ammunition pouch, his little utility pouch. A bit of brown in there. Remember, as we're still continuing that theme of working light to dark. Alright, so this brown first. Get in there, we'll just try and, there we go. Nice. Nice. There we are. So, just to add a little bit of depth to that as well, we'll get our, so that's our Cygor Fur. Cygor Fur? Gor-Grunta Fur, sorry. I do that all the time. Gor-Grunta Fur. Now we're going to use our Cygor Brown, just really lightly. Again, a little bit on, 1 to 1, mix it up, and all we're going to do, just in the little crevices in there, you know. Even with it still a bit wet, it's okay. Just kind of blends it in a little bit. In that patchwork, just move that contrast paint around the buttons. You know, just adds a nice little bit of depth. Alright. So next up, we're going to apply. That's basically all the bits and pieces there. So now we're going to apply some black. We're going to use black Templar. I like black Templar. It's not like you've got Black Legion and Black Templar. Black Templar is a nice black to use. It's got a nice little, it's got a nice consistency to it, and it leaves like a nice hue. We'll just warm it down. You probably want it to be a 2 to 1 sort of mix. And all we're doing, we're just going to get into the grooves. Okay, into the grooves is what we're going to do with it. Yeah, into all the grooves. We're going to want to use his pistol. That's going to be black. Just in there. And then we're going to get the weapon system. That's going to be black as well. I would argue against having this red, okay, just because there'd be too much red to contrast with his crestwork and his armor and his plating. So we're just, again, in the grooves, in his gloves, just in between the back here, and like I say, and the weapon as well. Okay, nice and light, nice and easy. Couple layers, depending on how you want to use it. We've just got the parchment to do. So I did add a bit of red on that purity seal as well, and I also just made sure I got a little bit of, so just the red and the red of both the evils and, oh my goodness, Flesh Tear is red and Blood Angel red. Next, we're just going to get the parchment, bit of Zandri Dust on our palette. And you know the routine, guys. We're just going to Duncan Rhodes it, 2 thin coats over the top of this, and we're still just waiting for the base just to dry off. Alright, so yeah, 2 thin coats job, too easy. We're going to need this Zandri Dust in a minute as well. So yeah, it's one of the few bits that we're not slap chopping, but it's a really, really small amount, and it's super easy to do. Great thing about wet palettes is you should still be able to use some of your old paint from mere minutes ago, which is what we're going to do here. We're just going to grab our Gor-Grunta Fur element, and then we're just going to apply it into the parchment. Ever so nicely. Is that the Gor-Grunta Fur? Or is that Cygor Fur? That might have been the Cygor, to be honest with you. But it's super thin down. But it creates a really nice, yeah, super thin down. If you go too heavy with that, you'll know. You will know about it. Yeah, it's okay, because that is going to get dry brushed over in a minute anyway. Right, so as you can see, I don't know if it's still got, hopefully when we put the Zandri Dust on, it will get rid of that greenish hue, which is what it feels like it's kind of got still. But hopefully we'll be alright. So yes, it's time for the magic. Right then, you know the routine, it's time for the Heresy is my therapy magic. Fresh tissue, Zandri Dust. You know the routine here, people. You've seen it before. You know what this bit's all about. Zandri Dust on, applied. Okay, Zandri Dust on and applied. Take it all off, people. Take it all off. All off, all off, all off, all off, all off. Okay, plenty off. And remember, this is an absolute feather touch. And I mean absolute feather touch on the model. Okay? Feather touch. Okay, absolute feather it on. You don't want to be going hard with this. Just nice and light, nice and easy, and all over the model. And you will see a very gradual change in the model. Okay? So again, take it off, put it on. Take it all off. A little bit off your finger if you need to. Same again, we're just going up and down the model. Nice and gently. And we should start to see a bit of a change in how the model looks. A bit more of a highlight coming. But again, it is feather touch. Okay, absolutely. Holding it back here, I'm not like holding it here, I'm holding it right back just to get that feather on. Okay, nice and easy, folks. Okay. So we're going to help it out a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of Ushabti Bone. Okay, and this is again, this needs to be just those very delicate areas, the tops of stuff. And again, we're literally just like, again, just almost dabbing it on, just to kind of ever so slightly just help it out a little bit. The problem is I think you need a lot of light to appreciate the yellow of this, you know. It is very, I will say it's more of a, it's a very grim dark yellow. It is definitely a bit more of a grim dark yellow. Really, when you've got it under the light, are you able to see it? Okay, and just a bit around the eyes. Okay, I mean overall, you know what we're seeing so far. It's workable. It's workable. I think maybe a little bit lighter, perhaps on, maybe a little bit lighter on the initial dry brush, a bit more white on there. However, what we are going to do, speaking of white, we're going to get the eyes done now. So we're going to need our Flesh Terrors red, and we're going to need our white scar. Okay, as always. So with this, you know, we're going to want to get our small, and I mean small, layer brush, and we're just going to get our a little dot of the white. Just take a fair old bit of it off. Okay, and we're just going to, as before, very, very gently in the eye. Just dabbing it in, not rushing, just nice and easy. Because then we're going to use our Flesh Terrors red to really bring the eye to life. Okay, and same on the other side. However you do it. You can tell I'm concentrating because I'm not talking. It's a rarity for me there, I can tell you that. Okay, cool, happy. And then, like you say, Flesh Terrors red. Probably a 1-to-1 mix. Just using it for the old stuff. Yep, doing, like I say, just into the eyes. Easy enough, into the eyes. Not neat. Just pop it in there. And again, you know, you can just come underneath the eye a little bit. Give it a little bit of a glow. Okay. A little bit of a glow. And if you want to, you know, you can, while you're here, just re-go over some of those areas with the, if you're not happy with some stuff, if you want to darken the red a little bit, it's a good time to do that. You know, you can darken the red a little bit, you know, just in some of those little bits, in case you're not too happy with the way it's maybe come out. Just darken some of those little bits there. There, happy enough. Okay, done the eyes, and now it's time to get, let's have a little think. Yeah, we'll get the metallics on, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Metallics on, let's do it. Iron Warriors, that's what we're going to do, as always. Iron Warriors onto our ears, give it a good shake, onto our palette. And again, I'm just doing the flamer casing, the igniter tips, just around the edges of the canister. Around the edge of the canister, the skull, basically I think that's probably like a mag recharger. And then just on the vents, the ports, on the back. It's time to pull out our liquid talent, folks. Nuln Oil. And again, you can use a small brush for this, it's no real issue. Again, Nuln Oil, liquid talent, straight from the pot. Oh, pretty much, straight from the pot. And all we're doing is we're just plopping it into those areas that we've just done. Alright. This will just, again, it's liquid talent, it does its job. No questions asked. Just get it on there. Let the liquid talent just sink into those areas that you've just painted. Silver. Yeah, just get it all in there. Nothing neat, nothing too wild. It will just settle into that metal nicely. All right. It's called liquid talent for a reason, folks. This and Agrex Earthshade. Love 'em. Brilliant. Absolutely. Oh, what have I been doing this all the way up here? I'm so sorry. I've just realised what I've done there. Sorry, guys. So, like I say, Agrex says Nuln Oil. I can't believe I've just done that to you guys. I'm so sorry. If you want to give it a thumbs down, I absolutely don't blame you at all. And like I say, back into here, into all the metallics areas. Just get your Nuln Oil in there, nice and easy. Too easy. As you can see, you know the yellows come out quite nicely on this model. In all fairness to it, that is there. The yellow's there. It's just when you take it out of it, it doesn't too much. But I don't know. Okay, next up. Oh, careful there, Luke. So a couple of little dials. We're just gonna grab our. Where's our Corx White gone? There it is. It's over here. Sorry, guys. Corx White. And all we're gonna do is just on some of our little like dials and buttons. We're just gonna pop some white dots on there. So in here, any more? Yeah, that'll do. what should we go with? Let's have a, oh, I think a nice green will do. I think we'll grab our, Warp Lightning. Warp Lightning, that'll do you. Bit of Warp Lightning. Yeah, go on then. We'll have some Warp Lightning. There we go. Warp Lightning on those green dials. In there, some green dials. Yeah, some green dials in there. Yeah, Warp Lightning. That'll do you. And then, oof, that little red dial in the bottom. What do you reckon? Should we have a little bit of Blood Angels red? Yeah, let's have a little bit of Blood Angels red. Just straight from the pot with this one's. Just boop, straight in there. Too easy. Simple buttons, simple lights. Too easy. Too easy, lads. And ladies, too easy. Right, now we're going to have some fun. So what we're going to do is we are going to let that dry, let this dry, and then we're going to create some charred effects like we did with our Salamanders models. Alright, first thing we're going to want Iyanden Yellow. Back into the pot we had before. Thin it down. Nice and thin for this. Nice and thin. And all we're going to do, we're going to divide our flame up into 3 parts. So what I'm doing is a first sort of like area here. I'm just adding this. Okay, nice and thin, move the paint around. Okay, and all we're doing, we're just creating a charred effect on the flamer. It's a really cool effect, I think. But we need it all to be a bit damp as we do it. Alright, it's not going to be neat, I will say that, but we're just getting it in these areas. Alright. With that still a little bit damp, we're going to move over to our Shyish purple. Again, on the palette, we're just watering it down a little bit there, bit of 1-to-1, and we go to the next part, which is like the middle bit. Same again, feel free to just push that into each other, just pushing those colours into each other, so it almost creates like a seamless transition. Okay. Absolutely seamless transition, he says. At least I'm sure it's how it's supposed to look anyway. We're getting that scorched area there. So hopefully you can start to see that transition going across. Alright. If you want to add a little bit more, just to make it a bit darker, you can do just towards the middle bit. You know, again, nice and nothing too heavy, nice and light with it. Have fun with it. Play around with it, move it around. You know, have fun with it. That's the key. Have fun with it. Alright, have fun with it. And then finally, our Tallissar Blue. Love this colour. I really do love this colour. Again, a little bit on the old palette, nothing wild. Dab of water, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And all we're doing, we're just polishing off at the ends there. Again, just move it into that brown, move it into that purple. Move the purples around. Again, it's wet. We're just, like I say, having a little bit of fun with it. And you'll see how it all moves when you're doing it. You'll see how the paint reacts when you're moving it all around. Alright, and that should give you a nice charred effect in that light. Okay, And all we're going to now, we're going to let that settle and dry, because we're going to grab our Stormhost Silver, apply our final dry brush over the metallics. Stormhost Silver, grab our small layer brush, a fresh piece of paper, and all we're doing now is just real lightly, and I mean just really lightly with our Stormhost Silver, and I mean like we're talking super light. We're just picking out those little bits just to easy as that. And then on the model we're just gonna ever so slightly across the top, done. Easy as that. And there it is. Right, we're gonna skip to the end of the video now where I've based it. But otherwise that's the basic video done. Okay guys, so there you have it. Our Imperial Fist in the yellow. I still think it's got a bit of a slight greenish hue to it. So I'd probably suggest just going a little bit lighter with the white to get rid of it, like as I've done on the shoulder pads. There's definitely a bit more of a white to it, but you know, for if you're struggling with yellow and you want a relatively easy way to paint your Imperial Fists, hopefully this video has helped. But you can see what I mean by it's a little bit, feels like a little bit green. Maybe it's the base that I've used, who knows, I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Is there a bit too much for, you know, because there's supposed to be a yellow there? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you found these videos useful, same again, give us a like, give us a subscribe, etc, etc. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.